And it looks staged. It really do. But if this thing is really going on the way that it's going on, as a moral group of people, this is why we are doing what we're doing. A better Black America, which is Black, Latin, Asian, Caucasian kinsmen. Conservatives of America, -COA, which is Colors of America.org. Check the website out. A Better Black America TV on YouTube. Please subscribe. This is why we are creating our own lane, a nation within the nation, because all of our energy and all of our time and money is going to foreign nations, is leaving this country while we're sitting here and they're expecting the systematic system to continue to run unabated. But they're distracted now. Now Black lives can matter because there's $60 million out there that we're lobbying for this Black Renaissance movement here. But there's no way we could sit down or have an educated conversation without a plan. So somebody got to take the wheel. So from a moral perspective, this is what we call the moralist movement. Moralist. We're moralists. We're going to fix and right the wrongs of the past through moral communication, moral legislation, to create a moral community which can actually be the best that we've ever seen it. We never had an opportunity, just too much going on. But while they are over there distracted and using the resources and sending things abroad, we must understand right here in America that there has to be a group of people that's going to uphold righteousness, that's going to uphold a standard. Because there's no way we can have brawls like this. The Crenshaw Brawl. Could you imagine somebody's sister or something, believe me, this, it's not going to stop just today. It's something going on in, out of campus. And this is why they are really looking to see, checking these, news outlets to see if any shootings close in proximity, in which we're hoping and praying that never happened, because we got to stop busting on a homie, which is another situation which we're going to raise funds to basically stop the killing, stop the shooting. They tried it before. Self-destruction, all in the same game, but somehow they decided to go a different way. But now that we don't have to seek outside sources to do what we're doing, we could just do it because, technology has caught up to our forward thinking. Now we can actually be the difference makers, because I like that moralist movement. Because if someone say, what are you? Oh, I'm a moralist. A moral society within the nation where these people are sovereign. They stay out of trouble. They invest. They grow their money. They have resources for everybody, but more importantly, their community. They've changed the trajectory of the prison industrial complex because of education, setting a standard, paying teachers the highest wages. Teachers should be paid the highest wages. Teachers should make more than nurses and some doctors. And I would say plastic surgeon doctors or psychologists, or, not your, your top notch doctors that's saving lives and doing heart transplant. I'm talking about regular, PhD having doctors, because they affect more than any species in society. Our children, 12 years, every child has to commit to this system. So that system needs to be looked at, because that system is a system that's aiding and abetting this crooked, warped system that we see every day. And it's not cool. And this is what it is. So this is why a better Black America is something for us to really understand, that We have to have skin in the game, and we have to be responsible, because when I saw Miss Grisby on Channel 5 News drop a tear, looked like Glory, like the movie Glory when Denzel just dropped it, but he was getting whipped. She didn't get touched. So emotionally, my goodness, we got to do better. And a better Black America is how we do better. So go to conservativesofamerica-coa.org. And we don't want your dollars. We want your pennies and your nickels. Go to the website. We got a penny a day, which is $3.65. And if you want to be in opportunities, if you want to be partners, and if you want to grow your money and be a stakeholder, and, that information is there as well. So we must do better. So if this was a rally cry, Crenshaw High once was one of the coldest high schools known to man. And I'm telling you, where the story's at. They need to hear our stories. Because I couldn't wait for football season to be over so that we could go to the basketball games and we could be in the crowd and holler at the honeys. So where the story's at. To see this negative situation. So we cannot leave this lingering. So we're going to have to get in front of this one and let them know what that property over there is. The heritage and what it's produced, because there's no pride over there. See, we had Shaw pride. We had pride. There's no pride there because most of the kids don't go to the school, and it's a charter type program. And I guess in the near future, they're expecting the gentrification to kick in and be white. But there's a strong pushback on that, thanks to a Better Black America, Urban League, and other community developers. Well, more importantly, COVID happened. That's what they say in the city meetings, but we'll talk about that on a later date. So this above ground railroad is this upward mobility of a group of moral humans, because we representing humanity. And when we talk about representing humanity, it's representing all humans. And like I said, I cannot beat this more. Black, acronym, Black, Latin, Asian, Caucasian, kinsmen, brethren. Moral, think about being moral. And if you haven't, Google moralist, see if it actually exists. Because they have to have a sovereign group of people. And we cannot be hidden, and we can't hide, and we can't just, not participate and not have skin in the game and not have nothing to say. So participating in politics fully and developing our next leaders, because we have a lot of talent that they have to fend for themselves, and they really don't know that these things and these entities exist. But it's on us to actually be the ones that, give them those opportunities. This is why we got to pour back into the community that raised us, and set a standard. Because could you imagine if we put Spanish for a second language in the LA Unified School District, meaning our children, by the time they get to third grade, they be literally bilingual. Now, if that don't help education, if that don't help the connection between black and brown, if that don't help curb the prison industrial complex, because they use third grade education, reading and comprehension to forecast how many prisons to build. But if the education is there, it will go away. But since we are the entity on this above ground railroad, and we're number one thing out the gate is to amend that 13th Amendment, which is to take the criminalization clause off of the Constitution, because the Constitution reads neither slavery nor involuntary servitude unless criminalized. Take that criminalization clause off and pretty much create a peace treaty and cut a deal with the private prisons, and somehow flip the script where they can profit off of legitimate business. We get the profiting out of prisons, and those could be jobs in the community. So These are things that we want to champion because we can't have a conversation about reparation without legislation changing and amending the 13th Amendment. And there's no other group in the world. So if you want to even think about having the conversation or supporting the 13th Amendment, go to conservativeamerica-coa.org and contribute your pennies. Yes, pennies. Along with the podcast, the AdSense the AdSense payout. So when you listen to the podcast, whatever streaming services, I hope you hear commercials, and you can fast forward, but listen to them or whatever, because this is how, I'm able to create an income pretty much, with my time in podcasting and sharing in the atmosphere. Because if you look at Joe Rogan, you could only imagine how much money he makes. I think his Spotify deal was in the hundreds of millions, if not 20 million. It was a multi-million-dollar deal podcasting. So this is an industry. It is lucrative, and it's pretty much like radio. You get paid off of the commercials. So amending the 13th Amendment and creating a nonpartisan independent group of people from a moral perspective to pretty much bridge the gap socially and economically, to change the trajectory of urban black youth, rural whites, and anybody in the other classes. Because when you talk about futuristic things from a visionary perspective, because after the 13th Amendment is amended and as criminalization clause is taken off, then we have a responsibility to make sure we create opportunities that's going to be lifelong skills. They say you give a man a fish, he'll, eat a fish dinner, some fries, just for one day. If you teach him how to fish, he can get a fish market. You know what I'm saying. This is urban talk radio. We're the number one urban podcast, urban radio show, stateside and worldwide. And if you're on Facebook, we do have a Better Black America Talk Radio show group that we're establishing, and we do upload. So if you're on Facebook, or if you're at work, you want to act like you're working, you could throw the Facebook thing in there and put the little headphone in there and, minimize that and go to and work and be listening to the podcast. Because this is how we create this above the ground railroad, is through having dialogue, not just talking with the ignorant stuff, because if I was ignorant, I could be like, y'all see that fight at Crenshaw? They was out there getting it in, that bull, but we keep it 100. We don't see things the way that they want us to see. And I saw somebody respond to a TV ad or a movie, something on Facebook or whatever. And she said, that's why, and it was on TV. She said, that's why they call it programming. I say, wow, somebody else know what's going on. Literally, stay tuned for your next programming. Wow. History, his story. So it's time for them to hear our story. And are we going to be on the right side of history? Are we going to basically create our own lane and start doing things the right way? So, listen, I'm running out of time. Tap in, keep tapping in. We're going to be hitting you with the A Better Black America podcast daily show on a daily basis. Sometimes if it's a whole lot going on, might be multiple streams uploaded in the same day. But we can and we will. Conservatives of America-COA.org, which is Colors of America. That's us. So if you want to help your people, you want to, create legislation and be on the right side of history. You want to donate. What's the best nations? The donation. So go ahead and go to conservativesofamerica-COA.org. And we want your pennies. The maximum penny investment is $3.65 for a full year. The cheapest organization that's going to create the best change. With that being said, have a great day. This is your man, Bouchon Glover, signing out. A Better Black America, the number one The #1 urban podcast, stateside and worldwide.